I made a promise that if Richard Hart's not going to make the incentive token valuable, like I want to take that on as just a side project. And we have, the Diamond Hands Club. We have the contract built to essentially create a game for, like, people are going to be earning this incentive token. So why not stake it? Determine a stake length for the incentive token, but essentially bring time locking. And how Diamond Hands works is it's basically just like you join at the start. If you remain staked towards the end, you can earn rewards, which comes from essentially like an early unlock penalty. And so it's like a very simple kind of staking mechanism. That's one option. But I also think, like, I feel like the incentive token is going to be great for playing around with on PulseX as well. Like, I feel like there's, imagine an incentive token pair that's incentivized, and it's just like this crazy loop of earning incentives. But it is interesting that I think it's just like Richard Hart, of all the projects that he's launched and all the assets he's built, it's like, I think he's just saying he cares least about it because it's not as, like, it doesn't have as much upside potential as the others. But what I think is really interesting with the incentive token and what we're seeing with a lot of tokens is, like, people love free tokens. It's crazy. And that's like what's driving what I think so much, like, interest on the incentive token is like, oh, I can earn this for free for staking my LP tokens. And it's like, yeah, you can. And it's just like driving a lot of interest. So kind of proves the point of, like, free token, the power of free tokens.
Well, people love them. That's what I've been wondering for a long time, is because, a lot of people say incentive token, they're going to dump it immediately when they get it. And I'm just thinking that the system kind of breaks down, doesn't it? If it's not worth anything and nobody wants to hang on to it, then what are they incentivized to do? So there must be some game mechanics behind it to make sure they're properly incentivized with not a worthless token. Otherwise, like, why would they want it? So you all may be building on PulseChain to do some gamification around that, sounds like.
We could, yeah. I mean, it's definitely a possibility. I think one thing that's really interesting with this token, though, is, like, one core aspect of a token is distribution, right? And when you look at something like the single-sided staking of PulseX, I look at that as, like, a great tool for projects to get distribution. Like, if they get approved for the DAO, I think that's how it goes. If you get approved for the DAO and you can incentivize people to stake to earn your token. In my mind, it's like, it kind of is that, like, the incentive token in a way is that it's like getting distribution. And then when you think about it, like, who is that distributing to? It's getting distributed to people who love liquidity providing or are liquidity providing, right? So I think in itself, just being a token that's distributed to those people could make for a beautiful liquidity token. Like, simply being a PulseX pair token that people trade on, people might want to provide liquidity for that, because if people are earning the incentive token and they want to swap to Pulse, like, that's just a lot of volume potentially to be making fees on.
Okay, so if nothing else, liquidity providing could be a way to at least give it some volume, give it some traction.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah, I think Richard's picked his tickers as he says it, right? Like, he's got his tickers, he's got his Hex, his PulseChain, and his PulseX. And I think that's what he wants to see pump. And I think he's
talked about Hedron and Maxi several times by name, so
which I love.
Secondary
tickers.
And even today, he spoke about them.
He did. So it's like I think he really does take the idea very seriously that, like, you don't want to divide too much attention to too many tickers. Like, you're like kind of diluting your kind of name brand or your where people allocate funds, that sort of a thing. And I think that's why he talks about, like, Rube Goldberg machines, and he's not going to try to plan all this crazy game theory into it, because like he said, he's got his tickers. This is what he cares about. And so, yeah, I think that creates a great opportunity for guys like the Maximus team. And, maybe we'll see new people too, right? Maybe we'll see new devs, up and coming devs, end up doing something as well. And I think this is all great. I think all these projects that are going to come over onto PulseChain, even the ones that are, like, most Hexkins would not, like, really promote or really want to talk about even. If they incentivize a lot of trading or a lot of activity on this chain, it is great for PulseX. Like this is all bullish, very bullish for PulseX, right? So I think we're going to see the narratives once PulseChain launches with these other tokens and these other projects are going to be fascinating afterwards. When we can actually pull real data and be like, yo, look at how many PulseX tokens were burned just because of this one protocol that was created, right?
Yeah.
And now maybe we won't be so harsh on certain crews, you know, and maybe we'll just based on math and the way the system works, we'll be more inclusive because of that. You don't know, like who knows what's going to happen, but I'm interested.
Yeah.